All right, what's up, guys? We got a very special episode of Collectors Mingle tonight. I got an amazing panel joining me, and I also have a representative from Queen Studios, John. So, John is going to get interviewed tonight by us, and we all, of course, appreciate John for joining us tonight because Queen Studios, or InArt, has been dropping their 1/6 scale little teases, and they dropped this Joker that they've showed us, right? So, I'm sure everyone's got a lot of questions. And we only have John for an hour tonight. So I do want to say we're going to hop right into our questions, not waste any time. After I'll give John a chance to introduce himself real quick. But for anyone who sends in super chats, we're going to get to those after. So we're going to try to do our questions first. We have 15 of them. We're going to try to roll through them. And then if we have time for super chats for John in that hour, we'll get to those. But like I said, I don't want to make any promises. I'm going to try to get to as many questions as we can. So with the essence of time here, John, do you have a sec to just briefly introduce yourself and tell the people what your role is at Queen Studios?
Yep. So I've been working at Queen Studios since about the end of 2018. So probably 3, 4 months into the to when we transitioned from a concept art studio, designing games and concept art for movies and that kind of thing. And around 2018, they transitioned into collecting because that's where the passion, and that's where we created some of the world's first licensed hyperreal busts, like the Joker behind me. But the first one was Loki, and then since 2018, we've been working on lots of different scales of statues, busts, and this year we've really excited to launch our new brand, which is InArt, which focuses mainly on figures. So the hyper real kind of figure, that's what we're going for now.
Nice. Well, that sounds super exciting, man. And like I said, I appreciate you joining us. I know everyone's here really excited. Your Joker has everyone buzzing. So there's a lot of questions about that. But Mario, I know you have the first question. Do you want to go ahead and ask John?
Yeah, absolutely, John. First of all, it's a pleasure to meet you, man, and just thanks for joining us or tonight. Quick question for you though. You just mentioned right now you're bringing in hyperreal, figures, and I was curious whether to know whether or not if you'll be introducing some of the hyper real materials used in some of your busts. Would it be possible that we see later on down the line, or with some of the figures like silicone portraits or glass eyes or anything to that matter, or we're just going to see just pretty much standard resin sculpted head sculpts?
Yeah, that's a good question. I asked one of the lead artists, Viper, on Friday about that, and he said that silicone might be difficult to do, but they might try in the future. At the moment, we'll stick to the usual materials most people are familiar with. But one of the key things that we want to do is really focus on like the rooted hair. So they use like a fine like sheep's wool, and they layer it over the top, and that like kind of rooted style hair really does make the figure look very realistic, especially with mixed media clothing, and a lot of like the weapons and accessories with anything that we make. We try and make as real as possible within reason. So that's we're going to go for as much realism as possible.
That's
Nice.
awesome, man.
Nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice.
So, Lael, I know you have the second question. Do you have it pulled up?
Yeah, I have it in front of me, man. I think I have
Perfect.
it in front of me right now. First question, or my first question, I believe. Yeah. What is your inspiration for, pretty much diving into like 1/6 scale figures? Like, what was um, you know, the drive into doing? I mean, I know basically because you just answered, you said basically it was like your first love, one of the things that guys wanted to do. But what was the inspiration into doing it now? Like what was, the attention, or what came to your attention that might have actually inspired, this direction, for 1/6 scale figures?
Yeah. So in general, the team that founded the studios have been collectors for a long time,
Hmm.
and it's mostly been busts and statues.
Yeah.
But as you guys know, like the more you collect, the less space you have, and 1/6 is just a very good scale to collect for most people.
Mhm.
And in China, space is at a premium. So most people live in like big high-rise buildings. So our biggest consumer base is Chinese. So we want to be able to make collectibles for all different types of collectors. So I remember maybe a few months back we had the offline showcase, and I think you guys reviewed some of the some of the things we revealed then. And I think I remember in the show, you guys said the 1-to-1 Alita looks awesome, amazing, but it's not for the average collector. So we do want to make things for the average collector as well, the general collector. So that's why we want to do that, to get to the fans, to make the hyperreal, take it from the big size right down to the smaller 1/6 scale. And now, the reason why now is just these things take time. It's not something we decided to do like yesterday. We've been planning this for a long time. So
for a while,
we have to, there's a lot that goes into it. There's the testing of the different types of material, the research development, the different joints, the eyes, all of that. We wanted to make sure we got it right before we put our first collectible out.
And what I will say is, I mean, what sold me pretty much on this Joker, it wasn't the tailoring, you know what I mean, which is amazing right off the bat. It wasn't the rooted hair, it wasn't the amazing sculpt, it was the hands. The details in the hands, the paint application on those hands was amazing. Like, that's something that, you know, is extremely innovative, you know, that, you know, we, you know, as collectors have been asking for a long time, because, you know, having, you know, jointed arms, you know, wrist pegs, stuff like that, that you see that sometimes it's nerve wracking. You breaking the wrist pegs, stuff like that. It's just like, but to see that, but to see how detailed it is, and, you know, how the paint application was insane. I was like, yeah, I'm sold.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's what they want to do. Just try and capture everything, like no details left. Like even the floor on the, I think the jail scene floor, that should be like a proper wood. The bench, the jail cell bars, all metal. So it's they're gonna
so
be.
that whole back piece is metal too, like the.
Yeah, it should be.
Wow.
Anyone that, I don't know if you guys saw the 1/3 Joker we made about 2019.
Yep.
With like the rooted hair. That bench was like a metal bench. The floor was like a proper wood floor. So it was very similar in that style. Even with that one, all the fingertips was all painted. Everything was done properly. So that's what they'll go for with the deluxe. I think it's called the deluxe edition on that.
Yeah. So, John, I have a question for you as well. So, I think a lot of people have been wondering about, you know, seeing this Joker and how you guys are going to approach 1/6 compared to your statues. So, I'm just kind of wondering, like, what Queen Studios' business strategy is going to be as it pertains to, like, pricing your 1/6 figures. I know you said you want to be competitive. Is that the goal ultimately, or are you looking to charge a little more premium for a premium product, so to speak? Like, what's the business strategy with that?
So I think there's a tiered pricing depending on the collectible. So, for example, with the Joker, there should be more than one edition, and the price differs based on the materials and the what's included essentially. So, as we go to like the rooted hair, the jail scene, that's going to cost more money to make, so the price is just going to be a bit higher. But the like the regular edition, that's going to be the usual pricing that most people are familiar with. We won't go too high. We'll try and keep different versions for different people, really.
Okay, gotcha. So to have some variety, to give people options, right? Yeah, because you got the sculpted hair and then the 2-pack rooted and that kind of stuff.
Because it depends. Everyone's different, right? So some people, they might think, oh, I'll spend a little bit more just to get the whole thing. Whereas some people might think, well, I'm not really interested in the whole thing. I'd just rather have the figure. So I think we're not going to do that with every figure, but with some of like the most popular characters where we can create like a scene or a diorama, that kind of thing, we'll have more than one option available.
Okay. And so, John, I have a follow-up as well, because we were going to have Ops going on, but he couldn't make it, so I'll provide his questions. So I think one of the main questions people have is how important articulation is for your 1/6 figures. 'Cause I know you guys have been used to doing statues and busts and things like that. So like, how posable are these figures? And like, people I think are curious about the seamless hands with Joker too. Like, is articulation like a big concern for Queen Studios? Like, you do want these figures to be pretty dynamic and posable and versatile compared to the statues, for example. And those seamless wrists, are you going to be able to pose those, or are they just kind of locked into one pose?
So the seamless wrists, I think how they will be movable and posable is there's like a joint on the elbow. So the elbow itself will be able to move around like that, so it can pose from there. But I think each collectible is different. But I think in general, from what I've spoken with the artists, the posability is really important, because that's why most people collect 1/6 figures. They want to be able to get things right, how put it in a pose that they want to create.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
posability is important to us. So on the Joker, even the eyes, I think this is one of your guys' questions. Will the eyes be able to move? The eyes will be able to move.
Gotcha.
So there will be lots of different options. But I think for the Joker, that's more seamless. But I'm not sure if every single figure is going to be that way. But posability is an option, yeah.
Do you have any idea of like how many points of articulation that we can expect for the Joker figure?
That's a good question. I didn't ask about how many points, but we'll follow up on that, because if it's not been said, it's something that's we've forgotten to mention. So I'll definitely find out today.
I was actually curious about the glove hands too, whether or not how those will move, because you got the seamless hands ungloved, like you had mentioned, how they'll move from the elbow. But with the gloved hands, will those actually be on another? Would it be the same style, or would it be on an actual wrist peg?
It should be on the same style as the ungloved hands. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I would think. But what's interesting, John, is like in the photos you guys showed with the gloved hands, they're like just hands. So like, I wasn't sure if those maybe would be wrist pegs compared to the seamless version, which are just kind of like a full forearm, so to speak, So I don't know. It's definitely worth looking at for sure. But Anthony, I know you have a question for John. You're up next, man.
I do. Well, first of all, nice to meet you, John. Thank you for coming on and whatnots. And no, I'm curious. So I don't know how I would word this essentially, but because you guys are kind of being new into the 6 scale game, and a lot of people are coming in for the first time, first hearing about this and the expectations. I was wondering, what made you guys decide to essentially make this rooted version as a 2-pack only, and like how, because I know a lot of people are really wanting the rooted version, but are kind of upset because they can't, like it's locked in a 2-pack. I mean, was there specific reasoning for that, or is it just because it's like an exclusive premium only kind of version?
From what I know, it's because it's like the exclusive premium version and the price is more premium. There's 2 scenes with that as well. But if it's something that people would be interested in individually, it's something I could ask about, see if it is something we could separate. I'm not sure what response we'd get from that. But one of the key things that I've heard a few times is, especially from 1/6 collectors, is the ability to talk to the people that make the figures. So we will take on your feedback and we'll listen to that. So what I'll do is I'll speak to the guys today and say, well, is it possible to divide into have 2 options? It might not be at this late stage, but it's always possible. We're always listening.
Okay, yeah, because I noticed just because the price tag is a little outside of a lot of people's wheelhouse, for that premium, and I've gotten a lot of questions myself saying, "Hey, man, why didn't they do a single?" And I'm like, I don't know, So it's a good question. I know there's a lot of people that would probably be willing to bite on that, but without having the option, they may pass.
Yeah, I think it was just the original intention to have 2 scenes and then just bundle them together. But I'll ask about if it's possible to separate. Maybe it is possible to do that.
That would be cool.
Definitely.
Cool. Okay.
Mario, go for it, man.
Now, John, my next question I wanted to ask you is that, are there any plans for North American distribution for InArt's 6 scale figures? I know you guys do like selectively for your, for your busts and for your statues, for North American distribution, and I think you guys mentioned too that the Dune IP that's coming out will actually be available for North America. But are there any more plans? I mean, not just with Warner Brothers, but for actual, if you guys evolve or actually be able to pick up any other IPs from from other licenses from other companies, is it a goal for Queen Studios to actually distribute to North America? And if so,
Yeah.
do you guys have any official distributor in mind?
At the moment, so with most things, when you get the licenses, usually when you first start out, you get your home country's license. So as we're a Chinese company, getting a license in China is a lot easier than overseas. So it's not by choice that we only distribute in China. We do want to expand because the way we see it, that the collecting is an international hobby. People all around the world collect, and all the forums, the groups, it's all international. So we do want to make more collectibles available. The challenge is, especially for Warner and Disney, there's already existing companies with these licenses. So if we can get more licenses within their properties, it's going to take us a while to do so. So what we're looking for now, and the InArt group in the first few days, we saw a lot of complaints about it being very spammy and people saying, oh, it's not like a wish list place. But that's exactly what we want. We want you guys to say, this is what we want to be made. And if it's a license we can get, we'll go out and get it. And hopefully we can make it available around the world. Especially North America, there's a lot of collectors over there. So for example, I think last week I joined PJ to answer a few questions as well. And I said we'd consider James Bond because we think it'd be cool to make. We never said it was available. But if James Bond was available and collectors want it, we'll try and get it. So what we're looking from you as the collectors is some maybe classic movies, some other maybe video games, anything like that you guys think it would be awesome if Queen Studios did this. Then we need to find out, is enough people interested? And if there are, we'll try and get the global license. That's the plan.
Definitely.
And for distribution, again, we're looking for feedback. Who's the best guys to work with? We've got some feedback from different people already. So we've got a short list of people we'd like to work with. But again, if there's any specific retailers that you guys say this is the best customer service, they ship on time, that kind of thing, that's the kind of people we want to learn about.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Lyle.
Yeah. So basically, one of my biggest questions here is, with the licensing situation, does Warner Brothers, in DC, are y'all basically with the DC IP? Are you allowed to really choose or kind of experiment and explore different characters within a DC universe? Especially like now we know that one of the biggest things is popularity. What figures you stand to gain more traction on. If these collectors know who these characters are, if there's interest, you have to gauge the interest. Especially so that with that being understood, of course, it makes sense to have these the most important IPs first. So we get that portion of it. But I guess the biggest question is right now is, are you allowed to explore, to different, sections as far as like you have the Batman, you have the classic Dark Knight, you have, of course, 89 Batman, you have Man of Steel, you have pretty much everything in the Snyder universe. You have some of the television options as far as the Flash, the new Superman show, Titans, stuff like that. Are you allowed to explore there, or do you have to stick within a certain section of DC? Are they already saying that you're restricted to which figures you can actually produce?
So usually how it works is that when we sign the contract to start, we'll send a list of characters that we want to make in our first year of our contract. They'll look through and then they'll say, okay, yeah, you can make these, and these. Because a lot of the time, they do, a lot of the studios, they do want to make sure that if it's the same character that's been done before by someone else, it has to have something new or different.
A different take.
They don't, they don't want the market to be flooded with the same collectible over and over and over again, because people are just going to get bored with that. So generally we submit our best foot forward, and then from there each year we'd submit a new list, and then they'll tell us, yeah, generally this could work, that might not work, and then in terms of creativity, we have to submit the concepts and the different things like that.
Mhm.
And then they'll approve what will work and what won't work that way. So it's usually a long process. But at the moment, because it's our new license, we'll probably start with the more popular, well-known characters. And as time goes on, we'll be looking for feedback from people for other maybe movies, TV shows that haven't been done as much, maybe some characters that haven't been done as much, and then we can start to make those as well.
Gotcha.
Cool. All right, so I have another question for you here, John. So I think one of the things people are wondering too right now is like the estimated turnaround time for these figures. So can you kind of give an estimate? I know it'll vary by each figure. Like sometimes there'll be delays, sometimes there'll be, you know, factors outside of your control that affect production. But can you kind of guess maybe what the estimated turnaround time for these figures are going to be? I know the Joker is probably like maybe 6 to 9 months. And then also I'm wondering like how many figures you guys are going to be producing at one time. Is there going to be a situation where, because you guys are still making the statues, you're making the bus in different scales and things like that. So are you guys going to be like actively developing like a lot of 1/6 figures at one time? Or is there going to be like a set number of projects to keep the release window down?
Yeah, so from what I was told, that the Joker might ship as early as Q4 this year.
Oh, wow.
However, that's probably not all of them. So what I mean by that is, if you look at, we've got a 1/4 Joker right now, and we've got two versions. So we've got the sculpted hair and the rooted hair. So the sculpted hair is not quite done, but the rooted hair is. So we tend to ship what's ready now, and we start to ship in batches. So maybe with figures, the batches will be more, but with statues, it's usually slightly less. And then each one has to go through QC. So as one of the questions or one of the comments was about the detailing on the fingers and the paintwork and all that kind of thing, all that has to be checked before we ship it. So we won't just ship and then everyone gets it immediately. It's going to take some time. So it could start in Q4, and then it could take a few months to just complete the whole run. In terms of development, the reason why InArt is like a separate brand to Queen Studios, it's all in-house, it's all the same company. However, the InArt team are all 1/6 specialists. So all the artists, they're all specialize in very small scale or 1/6. And then the people that are helping us to make the collectibles are all specialists. So we can actually work simultaneously with our statues and busts because the teams are separated. As far as I know, May should be the big push where we'll have maybe quite a few releases back to back. And then hopefully throughout the year, we'll have a steady release of releases as well.
Nice. Okay. Sounds good, man. And then I'll get to go again because I get 2 questions back to back because Alco's not here. So I think this is actually one that Jay had asked too. So I'm going to pull this one up real quick. So I know, John, I think maybe you've talked a little bit about this before, but I think people also wondering too, in terms of expectations, what type of figures to expect. Is the Chinese market definitely like Queen Studios and InArt's like primary focus? Or those like the demographic you're going after first? Because that'll kind of give us an idea of what figures to expect, like what's popular and what type of characters maybe will sell better over there in China. So does that kind of factor in? Like, should we expect to see products that are more so tailored toward that market rather than like a global brand, so to speak?
So with DC, yes, it's the prime with Warner Brothers. Sorry, Warner Brothers. Yes, it's primarily Chinese focused because that's where our license is. So that's maybe why you'll see a few characters that have probably been done before, because the Chinese market isn't as well established. It's in its probably early phases. So a lot of the collectibles that we might release might have been done before, but probably wasn't as widely available or widely collected in China. But as a company, we do want to reach a global audience. So maybe, as I mentioned on PJ's Q&A last week, if there's like some classic 80s movies that were really popular in the USA, for example, Kickboxer, Rocky, Rambo, any of those movies, we'll make them. It might not sell as well in China, but if the US fan base, the European fan base, the global fan base are interested, we're not specifically going to say, oh, we're only Chinese. It's just at the moment our first license is here. June will be global, and then we want to pick up some more maybe classic movie franchises, maybe Godfather. What's another one I heard?
Sell that damn toys, Mario.
Damn, I just got it.
Yeah.
Tony Montana, maybe.
Oh wow,
Scarface, maybe.
Let's get
These
those
are all
gangsters.
things.
possibilities.
Yeah, they're all possibilities. And if that gets people's interested, Pete, like you guys seem to think that sounds cool, then yeah, definitely we'll look into it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for that. That'll make a lot of people happy, I'm sure. So yeah, and I think Anthony, we're back up to you, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Kind of an obvious question, I think, but I'm curious. I don't know if you're able to, or if it's actually in your guys's strategy at all. But are you considering through over time going into the Marvel and possible Star Wars license as well in 1.6, or is that like not even a thought?
We'd love to. It's just that it's the hardest licenses to get.
And that's kind of what I figured. But over time, maybe
over time,
like, you know.
Yeah, if we can prove, we can prove over time that we're making really high quality, and we already have existing partnerships with Disney anyway, so it's just going to take time. So we could keep talking to those guys, keep finding the right people to speak to, and say, look, we're doing really great with these other licenses. Would it be possible? Then if they say yes, then we'll go for it. It's not that we don't want to. It's just gonna. They've got other partners. Yeah.
Okay. Because I considered that when I was talking last night on that, you know, being new over time with the licenses that you already have, you'll just essentially prove yourself over time. And like you said, you already have communication with them. You already do certain things with Marvel, and you know. So I was thinking, okay, if you guys were into that, if that would be something you would want to do, because then it would be like a whole different world.
We definitely want to do it. It's reputation as well. Once you've established, people start coming to you. So it just takes time to build that up.
In that same question, though, in regards basically to Star Wars, man, because you know, Leal and I, Anthony, you know, all of us. What about the quarter scale statues of the 1-to-1 bust, man? Is that anything?
Yeah, so
still trying to do, or
I keep telling the CEO that Star Wars, we need to make Star Wars, because everyone keeps asking us about Star Wars, and I know Star Wars is also, especially like the Mandalorian. There's the Book of Boba Fett, right? All of those are really popular. They're really popular right now. So we want to do it. It's going to take time as well, because Star Wars as a franchise has been around for a while. Even though Mandalorian and the newer spin-off shows are new, they've already got existing partners within the Star Wars Lucasfilm house, so to speak. So it's going to take some time to get that as well.
Yeah, they got some partners, but no one's putting out the quality you guys are for, you know, for those kind of scales, man. Like I've said it on many streams, you know, even my own, where if you guys ever got the license for quarter scale statues, all of this is gone. I'm full in, dude. You know, so I'm hoping, man. So one of the things that I actually wanted to ask you is that are you guys looking into establishing edition sizes for pretty much everything you guys do in 1.6, or will it be something you guys would do, like in particular just for any like limited editions as it's the Joker 2-pack? Or I'm just curious about that, because some of us collectors here, we're not much of a fan of reissues in a sense. So I was just wondering if that limited availability would actually be applied to your 6 scale figures that are out there.
Yeah, so when I saw this question, I asked about it the other day, and I think it's something that we're still not 100% confirmed yet. I think with some of like the more premium, if we've got it right the first time, for example with the Joker with the rooted hair, if we're completely happy, that's the best we can do, we probably won't reissue. I think that's where we're at right now. And if we did, it probably, unless we could do something really new or different, I don't think we'd reissue. An example of that would be our Thanos Bust and our Loki Bust. The Thanos Bust, we came out with a a 1-to-1 with silicone face, maybe
Yeah.
2019. And then a lot of people are asking about the Infinity Gauntlet. So we came out with the half body with the Infinity Gauntlet, but we used a new material. With the Loki, the technology has moved on so far with the Loki 1-to-1 bust that we wanted to remake that for the US market. But we had to do something different. So that's why we came out with a completely different suit, and it comes with the helmet. So unless we can do something really new or different, it's unlikely.
That's a good
Alright.
question. Definitely. What I wanted to ask really quick was, how does, how will Queen Studios pretty much like determine which license they want to pursue? Are there any licenses out there that you want to acquire that aren't as hard? That might be exciting for you, something that, you're really, really looking to acquire, besides, pretty much Warner Brothers and even like, certain licenses beyond just like Star Wars, Marvel. Are there other licenses that you're looking, to probably get into? Like, I mean, again, we have, certain shows, even certain animated shows out there, such as like The Invincibles, that's really popular right now. You have The Boys, within the DC, universe, basically. Like, you have so many different things out there that are really popular. How do you, are you looking to pursue different things?
Yep, as mentioned earlier, the different licenses we really want to learn as much as possible. The difficult thing is with this, and this is what we've got to figure out, is there's one thing saying, yeah, that's cool. Then there's the other thing is, yeah, I want to buy it and spend the money on it.
Yeah.
So because there's no point in making it and then everyone's like, wow, that's amazing. But then no one wants to buy it because then we've spent all that time creating something when we could have done something different.
Yeah.
So I think what we've got to figure out is, what do people want? And then also, not only do they want it, will they actually buy it? And I think that's what we want to figure out. And that's what only the community can tell us that. So if there's any movies, TV shows, we'll just look into it. We'll find out if it's available, where we can get the licensing, and then we probably go back to the community and say who's actually going to interested. And if you know our price ranges, then you probably could guess what it would cost. Then you probably know, yeah, I'll get that. That's what we've got to figure out. And without your community, without the community, we can't do it. It's going to be really hard because otherwise it's just a gamble. So there's a few a few of the classic movies we really should be able to get quite easily. It's just the people want it.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And real quick,
I think so.
Just one follow up was, and because I think Will he was like kind of bashful. He didn't want to ask, but he wanted to know if he paid you enough, would you make a WillFoxification head sculpt?
He might,
A one-off.
Yeah, make a one-off. That's the ultimate
like a one-off head sculpt.
John would do it. See, he could. He's excited. He would buy it. He would buy his own product.
It'd be cool. To be honest, I think
no, it wouldn't.
if you come to China, there's like little places you can go to. I'm sure they've got these in the US where you can get like little figures of yourself made.
Oh, can you?
Yeah. I think you can get them done online. You can get your own bespoke figure. But I'm not sure if we'll move into that industry just yet.
But that's something done by Queen Studios, man. That's the next level.
I could be the first edition size. I could be the first figure you make in that line. So I'd be proud to take that. Thanks, Lael, for setting me up for that one. So John, I got another question for you real quick. So I'm just curious what you guys mean when you say like InArt figures are, quote, the next generation of 6-scale figures. Is like the primary goal of making 1/6 to make something, it's not kind of innovative and premium? Are you trying to sort of create something that doesn't exist in the market already? Is that kind of the goal of entering the 1/6 market, or is there something different?
The thing is, like, that's hard to say. Basically, when you enter the market and you're a new company, people always ask, well, how are you different to someone else? And what makes you different? And there's probably, if you Google it, there's all these business and marketing strategies of how you differentiate and all this kind of thing. And what we just want to focus on is, what do we do well? And what we really do well is making really, really realistic collectibles. And the reason why we say next generation is because next generation is like the next step. So we're using the most up-to-date technology. We're using, we just want to push the boundaries of what's possible. So like the question about silicone, if we can do it, we'll do it. With the layering of the hair, not many people do it to the quality that we do it. So the next generation just means we're just going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, so that every time it's just going to get better and better and better. So we're always going to be, we're not going to just leave it there. We're going to keep going and going and going. And that comes with our head sculpts and everything. All the details will be the next level.
Yeah, because I know basically one of the biggest questions that everybody had was the rooted, you know, because a lot of people were really afraid to tap into rooted hair. Hence, if you see the figure in front of me right now, the rooted hair on this figure was atrocious. You had to kind of fuck around with it to make it decent. It spent a lot of, you know, time with product and stuff like that. But, you know, based on what I saw, you know, because I talked to Will about it, like the rooted was the way to go. So, yeah.
Yeah, we've done rooted hair on our statues on a few different versions now. So we know what we're doing. And I think that we can replicate the quality and it will look good. It will look a lot more authentic, more realistic.
Yeah.
So that's what we mean by like the next generation. Also, even with that, it comes down to with the miniature weapons that we're releasing, that a lot of them are made from like a metal alloy. Some of them come with like tiny bullets that you can load into the clips. So it's just the attention to details like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Well, John, I have a follow-up for you. So I think people also wondering, like, as far as you know, are there any specific innovations in your 1/6 line? I know you mentioned PERS or movable eyes, right? You talk about movable eyes for the figures. Is there anything else? Like, is the magnetic base going to be something moving forward for all the figures, or is it just a Joker specific thing? Like, what sort of innovations, you know, are you guys planning? What's the strategy with that type of approach?
Yeah, so the magnetic base, I think that's going to depend on the collectible, so it could be different for each one. Depends on what they're going for. I think the plan is today we're going to release a video to explain the Joker in more detail.
Really?
And
okay.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what time, maybe around 10 a.m. China time. The video's just been finished now, so Viper will talk about the 1/6 Joker, and he'll talk about the different moving parts, and he'll explain a lot better than I can. But from what he's saying is that the joints, they're going to use more magnetic joints as well to make it a lot more smoother, as well as the movable eyes and the rooted hair. That's the general. I think they're trying to do something different, but it's hard to explain. I think if they can show you in the video, it would be a lot easier to see.
So, John, would you know, like those seamless arms, are they magnetic? Are they?
Yes, yeah. They should be magnetic from what I understand from there. I'm not actually, because it's such a new figure, there's only one prototype and I'm not seeing it and I've not had a chance to play around with it. So I'm relying on a Chinese translation of what I'm explaining to you. So if I'm not doing a very good job, then we'll have to show you. I think that's
we'll
the best
see
way.
at 10 a.m. on the video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
if not, what I'll do it. Yeah, if it doesn't show you in the video, is because I've only written the subtitles for it. If it doesn't show you in the videos in detail, I'll speak to the team and they'll probably do like an explainer. They'll break it down, and we want to basically, if there's any questions that I can't answer, it's because we've not thought of everything just yet. So we'll try and find a way to explain it.
Gotcha.
Cool. All right, Anthony. So you got the last question before we jump into answering some super chats here.
All right. Well, let's see. Kind of already are doing it right now with us, but I'm wondering, with transparency and communication is a big concern in the six scale community. And I've noticed that you guys have been reaching out, getting on streams, communicating with us, the correspondence. Now, do you guys, is this because right now you're just trying to get to the general audience, or will you have like maybe like a community manager or somebody in place with social media that will constantly give us updates and suggestions and just kind of keeping us, in the light, so to speak, right? Because typically, like, we're always left in the dark of when's this coming, things of that nature. No, other companies don't really communicate at all. And I can understand maybe their reasonings, but I think that's a welcome change in the community, being able to have correspondence.
Yeah, so the truth of the matter is that this isn't like a promo tour for InArt where we just want to get out and show our face and disappear. Um, this
No, I figured. I
generally,
just wasn't
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
You know.
No, yeah. I just want to clarify for everyone because some people don't know who we are or haven't seen maybe they've seen the statues, but they don't collect the statues or busts. So for figure collectors, they probably don't know too much about Queen Studios, other than they might have heard other people talk about them. So to clarify is with the statues and busts, whenever there's someone wants a live stream and sends us an email, just reach out to me, or someone message us on Facebook, and if we've got time, we'll join. It's a community essentially. Basically
Okay, that's good to know.
we the collectibles we make isn't for us, it's for you guys. So these things we want to do as frequently as possible. The point is we just also want to make sure there's something to talk about. We don't want to waste everyone's time and just sit here and can't answer questions. So if there's something worth answering or there's a big issue, we'll come and talk to you guys. In terms of community manager, as we're based in China, it's really difficult to get enough English speakers to work here, but we do have a small team of people that answer questions on Facebook, Instagram. That both of the groups are managed daily, so we're approving posts, we're answering questions, and we're taking screenshots and sharing it with the artist and translating it from English to Chinese. So all this is a day-to-day basis. We're looking at the whole community all the time.
Awesome. Cool. No,
Perfect.
that was basically, yeah, you answered that. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I know Anthony will have another question soon, but John, and guys, for everyone sending in super chats, I'm going to try to get to these as much as we can. We got about 15 minutes, I think. So Carlos did have a question to start, John. Is there any plans for 1/3 scale Iron Man?
There's plans for 1/3 scale this year, but I don't think Iron Man right now.
Okay.
And I know we get a lot of feedback of why Iron Man over and over again, so I think we have to slow down on Iron Man for a little while.
Gotcha. Okay. So no plans for 1/3 Iron Man. Thanks so much, Carlos. Carlos also asked, can we expect older vehicles like the 1966 Batmobile to be made?
Please, please,
Yeah,
please,
maybe that if it's something that would be very interested in doing. So we need to create like a wish list, and then from that wish list we need to like filter it down, and then we need to create like a big poll, and if they can get enough people behind it, then definitely.
Okay. Because Anthony, might be a good time to ask your question real quick. I know he was just wondering about yearly releases, right, for vehicles.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Let me see how I wrote that. So with I guess vehicles, yeah. I mean, do you plan on? Because you had mentioned that you were going to do is the Batmobile, correct, for the newer Batman movie?
Yeah.
Okay. So now that's what I was wondering. Is that going to be like, because you're primarily focused on 6 scale, but that's the artistry of the figures and everything, the sculpts, the paints and whatnot. So vehicles are a little bit out of that wheelhouse, so to speak. So I didn't know if are vehicles going to be more like a yearly thing, or do you think, is it just kind of like, is there a plan for doing multiple vehicles per year, or, like 2 vehicles, or is this like a one-time thing because the movie's relevant? That's kind of what I'm wondering, if we're gonna expect not only great figures, but we also know that we're gonna keep getting vehicles consistently over the years, essentially.
Yeah, so with the Batman, I think like you mentioned, because it's fresh now, and it sort of adds to the character. The Batmobile specifically, it like lends itself with the character. There's always Batman, the Batmobile. It's like you think of James Bond, he's got like Aston Martin. There's not that many characters have vehicles that go with them, but in the future there could be more on the way. But it'd have to be like a really iconic vehicle, and it probably something from a movie rather than just making them.
Okay. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, and Carlos had another question. We asked about the Batmobile. Angel had a question. Jungle, Hunter, Predator, and Dutch from 87 Predator. Would that be possible?
Definitely possible. So, yeah, Predator would be awesome. I think we just need to find out, is it something people want? And then we just need to contact the licensing companies. I know Rambo, we know one of the guys that does the licensing for Rambo, we've got his contact information, so it's just a case of reaching out. seeing if it's available now. Maybe Predator, we could find out who's got the license for that. Those kind of 80s action classics, I think that's, from my opinion, I don't know about you guys, I think that could be a good start for like the US market, the North American market.
Huge.
I think so, especially if you make like Terminator figures from T2 or something like that. I think that would be. By the way, thanks so much, No message there, but we'll go on to the next one. Fallen Jedi, is it true Queen is already looking to aliens? Is that true, John?
We've got some busts on the way from Alien, yeah.
Nice. So for figures, would you guys do that, you think, or just for busts or statues, maybe?
I think Alien is owned by Fox, which is Disney, I think. So I don't know if we could. We could ask, but I don't know if it's possible.
Okay, got it. Okay, so let's see. So we'll do SJC. Has the team made a prototype SW-16 for themselves? Like maybe a Star Wars? Is that what he's asking, I think?
Yeah, Star Wars.
Okay. Do your artists do that, John? Do they make prototypes for themselves?
I think what they do is they'll do some test pieces. I know they've done it in statues, but not as far as I know for 1/6. For example, the film Logan. Do you remember that movie where the little girl with the
X-23.
Yeah. I've seen that in the office, and I asked, "Is that for sale?" They're like, no, it's just like a project.
Gotcha.
So now and again they'll make it because they have to. All the artists have to practice, especially with the paint apps. So they'll all be working on different projects as well.
Cool. Okay, so that's pretty cool. That's interesting to hear. And then SJC also asked, when can we see the box art? I'm assuming he's referring to the Joker. Is this something that's going to be shown in the video?
I don't think the box art is made yet because usually that comes a little bit later. I'm guessing it would be similar. I think the premium version will be similar to our artist edition box art for our 1/4 Heath Ledger Joker, but that's just my guess. I'm not sure right now.
Okay.
Hey, well, can I ask a question regarding the packaging?
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, John, do you know if actually, in regards to packaging, you guys plan on using traditional clamshells, or are you guys looking at foam and stuff like that, or?
Again, it's quite early. I think we'll look into different types of packaging and figure out what works best, and then we'll move from there. An example would be with our I don't know if any of you guys have seen with our half scale statues, we've gone from a small traditional box to like something you'd see from like a roadie you'd carry around for instruments. We've got like a massive black solid package. So it really does depend. I think they'll try a few different things to find the best way to keep everything secure, especially for travel around.
Gotcha.
Okay. So Posing with Peter, no question here. Just thanks so much, Posing with Peter. Good to see you, man. Sharing the love and gratitude for John granting us this time. Thanks so much, John. Yeah, we appreciate you, man.
No worries.
So let's see. Mugwump said, if classic movies are a go, please consider the original Terminator. Yul Brynner as the gunman from Westworld.
Yeah, Westworld.
Deckard would be an easy win too. So would you guys consider Westworld maybe, John? Or is that something, again, you need feedback on?
Need feedback on. Yeah, so that's the challenge, is that everyone's got a favorite, but just because it's like your favorite doesn't mean it's
Doesn't mean
everyone's
it is
favorite.
Right. Would they
right,
buy
yeah.
it? Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we're going to use the group for. So we had a few questions why make a group and not a page for InArt. The reason why is because a group is more interactive. If it's just a page, you don't really get to see what other people are saying. You can't have polls, that kind of thing. So the InArt group is made specifically so we can get as much feedback as possible, talk with collectors as much as possible, and then maybe after the Joker, we'll probably start some polls. So we need to get your help to encourage as many people to vote as possible, because then that's how we're going to find what to make for the North American global market.
Okay.
Good
Will,
to
can
hear.
I ask
Yeah,
one
go ahead,
quick
Anthony.
question that just came to my mind since reading all these super chats here about all these different ideas and how you guys would love to do and tackle all these properties. Would it be, if more and more properties grow, can we expect the company as well to grow, or will this, because it's great now being small and starting with no releases yet, that would it eventually turn into what we're used to, where we're waiting a year and a half, 2 years, per announcement if you guys get bigger down the road, or are you going to try to keep that window much, much lower than that?
So what we're trying to do is we'll scale the company as we scale.
Okay.
Yes, I'm trying to get the wording right. So the business will scale as the products will also grow. So, for example, when we started out with the busts, I remember the team could fit in a really small office. There was about 8 of us, and we had about 5 to 6 SKUs. Now there's probably close to 100 of us in the office, and we've got more SKUs. So as we grow, we reinvest in the returns back into the business to make sure that we can fulfill the collector's needs. There could be a few delays in shipping depending on batches, but I think the goal would be to have a quick turnaround and have a specific InArt team. So any sales that we get will be reinvesting and making sure we can continue. And another challenge is, as we grow, how do we keep that connection with collectors? Because if you're really big, there's like more chains of command, and businesses become more too big to like communicate with the customer. So the guy at the top can't really hear what's happening. So we want to try and find a way to keep our connection between the collectors and the art director, CEO, that kind of thing. But it's all a challenge, and we're gonna be up for it.
No, interesting. Yeah, I was just curious. So basically, they'll just scale as the licenses expand. So too will the company too.
Yep. That's how we've done it with statues and busts, and so far it seems to be working okay. Some things we can ship and deliver really quickly. For example, we released Venom and Carnage sometime at the end of last year, and we already started shipping in February. So there's some things turn around really quickly, and if it's really technically difficult, it could be a little bit slower. It depends on the kind of collectible.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you. That was good.
So, John,
Good
what
to know.
about, Carlos is asking about Walking Dead. Is that something in serious consideration right now?
Yeah, so Walking Dead, so it's originally a comic book, right?
Yeah.
Then
a show
but
on AMC.
I don't know. Yeah, and AMC. So that could be possible. I know that our art director's got loads of Walking Dead figures in his house. So
Okay.
So it could be definitely something we'd be interested in. We just need to find out who's got the licensing, because usually if AMC produce it, you have to go to the original comic book as well. So I think we've got to find out.
Yeah, I'd have to go through
how that
Image
works.
and Robert Kirkman's like department over there.
Yeah, they usually give all the go ahead. It's usually those guys that have the final creative say.
Okay. What about the Batmobile that you're doing? Is that going to be die cast, or the engine? Is it going to be die cast at all in any parts?
I'm not sure of the materials yet, because I think I've seen a few comments about how what would the tires be, rubber, that kind of thing. That's in development right now, so I'm guessing May we'd be trying to show the first prototype. So that would probably be the time to answer that question.
Gotcha.
Well, that's right around the corner.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
they
it's
said
not
they're going to
far
drop
away.
a lot of stuff in May, so
The original plan was May is Wonder Festival in Shanghai, which is the biggest, like it's our San Diego Comic-Con of China, pretty much.
Gotcha.
But recently COVID's really ramped up in the mainland China, so it's looking like it could be postponed. So if it is postponed, we probably will stick to the schedule. We'll just try and move things online, have some kind of online event.
Okay. And John, I know we have time for maybe a couple more, but Major Brent Derlin is asking, can you speak to the rest of the Dark Knight line in 1/6? That's something you guys are planning to do, do more Batman, Bane, Catwoman, that kind of stuff?
From the Dark Knight, I know we have a 1/3 Batman on Batpod on the way.
Wow.
So it could be possible that we'll follow. Like last year, we had the 1/6 Selena Kyle on Batpod, and 1/3. So I think we might do something like a 1/6 and 1/3 again, but I'm not 100% sure. It's likely to happen.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So, and Josh also asks, any idea when we'll see the Spider-Man 1/2 reveal? Is that coming soon?
maybe June. I think June's the plan.
Okay.
The timing, but it all comes down to approvals and that kind of thing from Marvel.
Okay.
One quick question before we
Yeah,
take we go. Do you think okay, especially since you have Warner Brothers, would you be tapping into, like, especially with considering the simple fact that we have the final installment of Fantastic Beasts, Harry Potter, coming out, pretty soon? Is that something that they'd be thinking about?
Yeah, so not Fantastic Beasts just yet, but the Harry Potter for sure. There's
Yeah.
some collectibles in the works right now,
Gotcha.
and there's
Gotcha.
something pretty cool in the works. I can't say what it is yet,
Okay,
but
cool.
I think towards the end of the year we should be showing some more of that.
Okay, cool.
And that's 1/6.
Yeah. I'm not sure what scale actually. It could be 1/6. It's a new concept. It might have been, the concept might have been done before, but I don't think it's been done
Okay.
at scale. So that new concept should be on the way towards the end of the year.
Gotcha. That's a great question. So, and John, I have another one here from Ian. Is BVS Batman coming anytime soon? Are you guys looking at like Snyderverse stuff?
For 1/6,
Yeah.
from not this year. From what I've seen, I don't think it would be this year. It could be sometime next year, because I know that the Snyderverse stuff is really popular, especially in China, because those movies, like the movie industry is really kicked off here since like 2008. So that's why Dark Knight is really popular here, because that's when people started going to the cinema. So these later comic book movies, these Marvel movies, are really popular in China. It's some of the early movies like Terminator, Rambo, or those kind of things that people aren't as familiar with. So if we were to make those, it would be primarily for the global market.
Gotcha. Okay. And then Nick had asked, is there any guarantee that the Rudy Hair Joker will match the prototype? I know you guys are pretty good about proto versus final. Is that something you guys are, pretty confident in, that you can match a pretty close standard?
So if there are any delays, it will be because we're trying to make it as perfect as possible. And that's one thing that we try to pride ourselves on. So people that are receiving the 1/4 artist edition Joker right now will see that it's pretty much exactly it all comes down to photos as well, right? So some collectors take terrible photos. So
it's true.
He's not wrong.
and so that comes down to that. But when you see them in person, the prototype, usually the final collectible is slightly better than the prototype. That's how it works for us, and we'll probably do the same with 1/6. And if there are delays, it's because we want to make sure that they both come out together. We'd rather keep you guys waiting and have the final collectible really good than have something that looks nothing like the prototype and have like some sort of bait and switch kind of thing. That's not what we do.
Well, just real quick, I was just curious though, with that plans coming down the future, right? Like you said, we're saying Dark Knight trilogy, things like that, but I'll try to make it quick. But do you plan on releasing just like cherry picking out of different franchises, or do you guys have an intent to like complete lines as well?
I think from what it looks like now, we'll have a certain group from like the movies. For example, if we do the Joker, we'll probably follow up with the Batman. If it's Batman, it's probably going to be the Batman from the Dark Knight. If we do a Bane, it would probably be further down the line because it's from a different movie. I think that's the general direction that we'll be going in. Okay. Even though they're part of the same trilogy, we probably try to work on the same movie first and then move on to the next one from that trilogy.
Okay. Like if it was like a Justice League or something, like would be like eventually like the whole team. That's what I was thinking, because sometimes things don't get completed.
I think so. I think that's what the direction that would be going in eventually, is that if we do Justice League, we'll try and make at least the top 3 from the, maybe if we don't do the Flash, we might do Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, something like that.
Okay. Good to know.
So, John, I have another one here. Terminator 2, Tech Noir Police Shootout. Can they get licensed for Thundercats, G.I. Joe, Alien? I think these type of questions, guys, again, I think he's probably just going to keep saying we need feedback. We need feedback from you guys. Is that right, John?
Yeah, Terminator 2, I think, would be popular, and we have asked about it. it just comes down to availability. I think Terminator 2, most people are big fans of that, and we are here. So I think that would be like a passion project for us anyway. But like G.I. Joe, and what's the other one? Sorry, the Thundercats. From what I know, Thundercats was big in the US and fairly big in the UK, but I don't know out in other countries. So we'd have to really have some real strong evidence that it would be popular enough to make.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So that sounds good. And Ashley Chase, thanks so much, Ash. Ian said 777, real possibility. I think you guys were talking about that, John. Maybe it is, right? Yeah.
It's only possible if the licensing companies will allow us to, and then if the collectors want it. So it's not just because everyone wants it doesn't mean we can make it.
Right.
But I think it'd be something we're very, very interested in doing. So we'll have to. You've got to reach out to two sets of people and try and make it happen.
Right. And John, I think one of the last questions I would at least ask, because I know a lot of people have mentioned to me video game licenses. I know you had mentioned that video game licenses tend to be a little easier to acquire. Is it something Queen Studios or InArt is like, realistically looking at, like making video game figures like The Last of Us or Red Dead Redemption or Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy, things like that?
Yeah, I think it'd be something that we'd be interested in. Like Red Dead Redemption is awesome. The Last of Us would be cool. We just need to reach out to those companies and see, is it available? When we said it's easier, they tend to be a little bit easier because there's not as many companies that make them. But that's not always the case. If it's the big video game, then it's probably they have a partner already. And that's usually the obstacle. It's not that they don't want to do it, it's do they have an existing partner.
I would like to see Mortal Kombat if it's already within the wheelhouse of Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I've seen some Mortal Kombat figures already, but I don't know if they're licensed or not. So if they are licensed, it might be challenging, but we could always find out.
Yeah, they did. Storm Collectibles is doing them licensed right now in 1/6, but they're very action figure-y, joints everywhere, and so interesting.
And did I hear you right by you saying that there's a possibility that we might see a a Selena Kyle in 1/6 from the Dark Knight Rises?
So we did the last year the 1/6 Selena Kyle, but that was a statue 1/6, so it's not posable. So that should be shipping sometime this year.
Yeah. But like the 6 scale posable version, is that something that you would see down the line possibly?
Probably, because the Catwoman's a very popular character. So down the line, it's likely.
She is popular, but so is Michelle Pfeiffer too. So
yeah,
that's what we need. We need Batmans. We need 89s. That's what we need.
And 66.
Yeah, the older movies, I think it's because we're a Chinese company, the older licenses aren't as easy to get, because I don't think they were released here. I don't know why, 100%. But for example, the Keaton Batman, we've been asked a lot of times, and I just think it's not that easy for us to get. Or the Jack Nicholson Joker. Not many companies have made that. Yeah, I think a lot of people really want that, but not many other studios have done it. So I think there must be a reason for that. And I can't answer why, but
it's cool.
There must be a reason.
If you give us basically a Zoe Kravitz 1/6 scale figure, I'm all in. You have my money. You have me basically head load. I'm in.
John, I have like one, I guess, final question for you real quick. I think a lot of people have been asking, is rooted hair going to be something you offer with all of these figures? Like, is there always going to be a premium standard version with rooted hair or whatever? Like, is rooted hair going to be like a consistent thing?
I don't think always, but most of the time. So for example, the Paul Atreides from Dune, his hair is quite long anyway, so that's probably going to be rooted hair. The Gandalf definitely is.
Yeah.
I think it depends, but most of the time it will be rooted, especially if the character's got slightly longer hair.
If you're doing Gandalf, I just need to know this. I'm sorry, because that's getting into Lord of the Rings territory. Can you at least let us know if you have plans on completing the Fellowship?
Yeah, so I'll ask about that. I know that there will be more from the Fellowship, but I'm not sure if they're going down to as far as Frodo. I'm not sure
Yeah.
No
a
1/6
1/6 Frodo would look
hobbitses?
like.
They'll probably. I know
Yeah,
you
I
guys are
know.
doing Legolas because you already teased him, right? You teased Legolas.
Yeah, Legolas should be on the way, but I'm not sure how many characters from the Fellowship and how far back the Fellowship, because it started off bigger, right? I forgot what his name was.
Yeah, there's Boromir and
Yeah,
Gimli,
Boromir. Yeah.
and Aragorn and the hobbits. Yeah.
It's because I really
So,
want to
yeah.
get into your Lord of the Rings, but I
Right.
don't want like half. It's the team thing, kind of. And I know you
Yeah.
don't need a lot of the secondary figures, but a good
Yeah.
collection base that will get me and other collectors invested, because that's one of the problems is people will come out with a figure and it's like a one-off type thing, and you're like,
Yeah.
that it's not going to fit with my other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You got to put, when you're thinking about space and putting them together, it's better if you can have the Fellowship side by side.
Yeah. And I think J Tor's asking about the Colonial Marines from Aliens. I don't think that's going to happen, right, John? Probably, at least not in the plans.
Not as of yet, but so another thing we want to mention, I've got to leave in a few,
Yeah.
probably a minute or two, but one of the things we do want to mention is that this is part of our long-term plan. We've been planning 1/6 for a while now, maybe 2 years. I think since around the pandemic hit, we was planning for a while. So we're in this for the long haul. So as long as people are collecting, we'll still be here. That's the goal. So just because we can't make everyone's dream come true today or tomorrow or next year doesn't mean we can't do it in the future. And then as we get better and grow, we're only going to make better collectibles. So hopefully for like the Alien, some of those, maybe Star Wars or anything like that, it just might take us time, but we'll get there.
Definitely.
Yeah. Sounds good, man. And like I said, John, we appreciate you joining us, of course, man. Like I said, it was a blast having you on. Hope to have you on again, man. If you want to come back on anytime, just let us know. I'm sure
Yeah.
people will have a million other questions for you. So
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, the thing is the time zones. We
I
gotta.
know, man.
That's what got me last time. I was assuming this was yesterday.
I know it was yesterday.
I was
what's
up early in the morning, 6 a.m. ready.
Yeah,
and
you
then
were
I was
like-
oh no, the wrong day.
You were like, "Where's
Yeah.
Will? I don't know where he is." It's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, John, thanks so much for joining us, man. We appreciate it. And like I said, man, anytime you want to come back on and answer some other questions for us, I'm sure we'll have plenty that we want to ask you. So,
I'll
you guys
probably be
on.
asking you some more questions because I'm supposed to be jumping in Justin's.
Yeah, Lael's gonna be on Justin's.
Yeah, I'll be on Justin's too.
Okay.
So I'll probably see you in a minute, in a little bit.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Hopefully, let's do this again around May time. Then I can answer
Yeah.
more of your questions
Yeah.
in more detail, especially about the posability, the maybe like the hand pegs and the
Absolutely.
magnetic arms. We'll know more then, and we'll have a lot more collectibles. So I'll be happy
Okay.
to join
Cool.
in a month or two.
Sounds good to me, John. Like I said, just let me know, man, in May when you want to come back on. We'll schedule something. And people obviously love hearing what you have to say. So, like I said, this Joker figure has the community buzzing right now. It's what everyone's talking about. So you guys have done a pretty good job.
That's
so
great.
far.
Good to hear it.
Cool.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks
All
a lot, guys.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'll
Okay.
see you, John.
Thank you very
Cheers.
much.
See you. Bye.
All right. So, guys, Lael, do you have to hop off now?
Probably in a minute. I'm because I got to go to the bathroom first before I go. I've been sitting here for like the longest period of time, man, for a few hours. So I got to go.
Oh,
to the
yeah, you've been
bathroom
on
and
for a
stuff
while.
like that.
I know we had a super
Yeah.
chat. Constantina, sorry, Constantina, I couldn't get to it. Any of a chance of Mass Effect 1/6? Sounds like to me, video games are very much up in the air for them.
I'd lose my mind, dude.
He was saying MCU
We had
license,
Mass
chance of
Effect,
going
you
out to
have no
comic-based
idea.
licenses. That's again, I think there was a lot of similar questions
That's
like
gonna
that.
be
It was like
tough,
them
bro.
saying we need feedback. Yeah.
It's going to be tough
Yeah.
because we know that companies like Sideshow they're not giving up those licenses,
Mhm.
bro, and they're major
Yep.
distributors over here in the North American market. So that's just not going to happen.
Right.
Like I just don't.
Yeah.
It could. I mean, because it like any company who has the licenses, to these properties and stuff like that. Once they have them for a certain amount of time, and then there's a bidding war once it comes up again. And these companies can even opt out at certain points to say, "Look, nah, we want to go a different direction." After a certain amount of time. So I guess it's like a waiting game to basically see if that would happen. But I mean, right now we know that that's right now Sideshow's bread and butter. They holding on as tight as they can. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any like final takeaways before we wrap things up? Is there anything like that really stuck out to you from what he said?
I think the fact that they've been planning to get into 1/6 for 2 years now. That's that was a cool little revelation, man. That was very interesting.
Well, yeah, man, that's what I was saying, dude. Like, they didn't just come out and be like, "Hey, we're thinking about doing 1/6." Like, you know what I mean? They got this all planned. They got the releases. Like, that takes
the magnetic Joker arms really stuck out to me.
Yeah,
I didn't expect them to be magnetic like that. But
and they're looking at strong. I mean, if it's from what I'm thinking and what was mentioned before, the magnet is strong. You know what I mean on it. You know, so it
also mentioned metal joints too for the Joker figure, so that's something I'm also curious about.
So it'll definitely hold.
That's starting to maybe justify the price a little bit more, you know, because you're starting to get like metal joints and magnetic arms and rooted hair and like
materials
and the stand itself, like the gel cell, is metal. You know what I mean?
He said, he said it's all die cast.
I said metal. I said the whole thing. Like,
so it's just going to be interesting to see how the packaging is. You know what I mean? Like how big the boxes will be. I hope, and Mario, I'm so glad you asked about that. I mean, was it Mario you asked about the packaging? I think I
was in Anthony and I asked
about the clamshell versus like
clamshell foam and shit like that.
Yeah, because if I'm hoping that they don't use clamshell, man. Like I really hope they use foam.
It'd be nice to have like just like one premium package. I mean, that's what I'm a fan of the foam, man. It just makes it more of a premium experience.
Yeah, it makes it more. Because they did that with even like if anybody got the deluxe Darth Maul, the DX version, it was foam inside of it. It wasn't
even before that. Go back to the Indiana Jones DX.
Yeah,
man, that was three layers
of exactly. So I'm hoping that they go more that route and continue that than clamshell. I hate clamshells, bro. I really do. I hate them.
Pop them open and accessories go flying all over
everywhere, bro. And I hate it.
It's a giant pain in the ass,
clamshells, bro. I've lost pieces because of clamshells, bro.
Yeah,
same now, but.
They're not going to give us a clamshell and $1,000 premium pack, dude.
Nah.
Yeah.
God, I hope not, man.
Yeah. No.
I really hope not.
I tried, Will. I tried, bro. I tried.
With what? What about the making a figure of me?
Yeah, it's cool.
He sounded like he was interested. So he was like, you know, we'll make the collector's line, the YouTubers line.
Feel better, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, I tried, man. You know, I'll take it as a win. He sounded kind of interested. So
he said was in the chat asking if he missed anything.
I know. Major Brent Derlin, thanks so much, Major Brent. He said, "Can you imagine if Hot Toys came on and talked to us even once a year? That was great. Thanks." Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
That'll happen though.
We tried. Like I said, I'm sorry, guys. I got to almost all the super chats. So I tried to
good pacing.
We tried to roll through them because I know we had a lot of questions that needed to be answered. So
yeah.
So yeah. Dude, it's an exciting time, man. Hopefully, we'll come back on in May because it sounded like he said in May they're going to drop a lot more stuff. That's where they're going to drop more.
That big con in Shanghai.
Yeah,
so they're going to be
doing
I'm curious to see if they're going to mention anything else outside of what they've already previewed. You know, the silhouette. So we'll see.
He did mention some of those statues that they showed too on that list are coming soon. Like he said, Loki should probably be shown over the next couple weeks.
So the thing is, let me ask you, man. I mean, I know everybody here is pretty much picking up the Rooted 2-pack, right?
Yeah.
But how do you feel about the artist edition quarter scale now? It's just basically a quarter scale version of this same thing.
Yeah, dude, I'm getting both. Yeah, because the artist edition you probably saw, Mario came out incredible, man. It really did.
Yeah, no, it looks great.
It looks really good. Great, so to me, I'm still getting both because I'm the Joker fanatic of probably of all fanatics. So because I have the J&D too. I will anyway.
So I don't have to make that choice.
Yeah. See. Leo, you did it right, man.
I don't have to make that choice.
See, I already got the artist edition Mario, so like I already paid the deposit, which was like 20%. So I'm not canceling it now. Yeah. So
same here, bro. Because I'm like, it's just making me wonder whether or not if I should actually jump in the 1/6 scale version because I picked up the artist edition, for a reason.
I think you should.
You know what I mean? So
because worst case, if you decide to sell it, you're gonna flip it and make money. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not why I want to.
No, but I'm saying, but if you change your mind later, you're not gonna lose money. Yeah. So, because if you change your mind later and you didn't pre-order, then you're going to lose money because you're going to pay more than what the pre-order cost was.
Exactly. At the same time, keep an eye on SpecFiction's page.
I know. It should be another 2 hours. I think it should drop at like 10. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
and then he did mention too that they will be putting out a video, right? Because it's harder for them to explain.
Yeah, right.
At
10.
They're going to show us more.
So, you might want to watch that before we pre-order just to be sure.
Yeah, because it's not going to like poof out. Like you've got a 3-day.
Got a 3-day window.
Like I think use enough time to maybe check a video and really decide because that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You want to be sure before you're dropping that kind of money. You're dropping a stack. It's like.
So we
I wanna
have
know.
what till basically Tuesday night
Yeah,
for
probably.
us over here, right? So yeah.
I would think
Yeah.
so. I'll probably watch the video and pre-order it like in 5 minutes though. So,
Yeah, that's what I would imagine as
to be
well.
honest.
But I want to just confirm.
But you're right, Anthony. I think that's the smart move to kind of watch the video and then see what's going on. And yeah, I mean it sounds like to me,
always
they're
make
going to
educated
premium.
purchases, right? So if they give us education right here to inform us, then
Yeah. And it
I'm
sounded
gonna
like
watch that before I drop money.
Yeah, well, you guys heard me ask him too about. He sounded like rooted hair is going to be an option for almost all figures. Probably they do, or at least most of them. He said not everyone, but it is going to be like a priority to them. So
If that's the case too, I mean, you gotta consider pricing now too, because
right.
they didn't actually consider pricing for a single version of this figure with rooted hair too. So
Right.
who knows?
At least he'll check on that, but I would tell people not to get their hopes up considering the pre-order is about to drop in 2 hours. Like I don't see them going back.
Yeah,
and
I
saying, now
really
there's a
tried to
single
hit
rooted.
that question, man, because it's a big concern for people.
Right. That's a great
I was
question.
thinking about that too. Yeah.
And like
I love them, but we got to hit them with some of the real deals. Like people want a rooted, they don't want to drop $1,000. Maybe they'll put one out though later. Like I don't know. Like you said,
I've heard that concern a lot. People message me and ask me like, why is there not a single version? I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, articulation is another factor too, man. Because I know people were kind of like worried about the limited articulation with the wrist now. Because now we got to just elbow joints. What can we do with the actual wrists?
I mean, I think though what's justifiable is that you've seen him more so in action with the jacket on, with the actual gloved hands.
Mm-hmm.
With the arms, the wrist joints, and his sleeves up. That way, you only see it within the gel cell, so it makes it more, I guess, validated at that particular point. With the gloved arms, you're going to have the movement. Probably, I don't know if it depends, and that's going to be interesting to see how that movement is going to be. If it's going to be wrist pegs or how we'll see that, but that's where you could get, you're getting more articulation with that particular version. But yeah, I kind of like that they did that. I like that they gave us both options, with the gloved hands and also with the exposed arms where you don't see the joints. It's painted well. I mean, because I know that gel scene, and the thing is, it's fucked up because now you basically have to get 2 Batman figures, one for the actual gel cell scene and then one for that. So like, you know what I mean? It'd be crazy, but at the same time, I mean, I think, if you have one from Hot Toys and then you have another one, because they said clearly that, they're going to release one, just a matter of when. And then on top of that, whether or not that would be a 2-pack is one that's going to be kind of interesting. I'm hoping that they do a single spot or a single one for that one. But yeah, it's just a matter of time to see where it goes, man.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to just scale down, bro. Sorry,
yeah.
Like they're scaling down their statues essentially to 6 scale. So they're going to be, I suspect they're going to be hybridized models, right? Yeah. So it's like, as he stated, I mean, space is a huge factor in China. So they're making statues, but they're bringing them down to 6 scale. And with that, they can kind of, like I say, they can do some posing, right? We're going to be able to move them, sit them, much different than a statue, but they're not going to have full, like Hot Toys quality articulation. You see what I'm saying? But they're going to be, I think the way they design them, I think we can take those 2 Jokers and pose them in a multitude of ways that are still going to look very, very well to us. We don't have to go too crazy and get them on flight stands and jumping and you know what I'm saying? The type of properties that they're doing and how they're doing them, I think it's going to work out like that.
Leo, I know you got to run, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna dip out, man, and jump in here real quick. So I'm gonna go to the bathroom before I do. But man, thanks for having me on, bro.
Of course, man. Thanks for joining.
Definitely check you guys out later on. Again, it's a lot going on this week. But I mean, I don't even want to talk about it because tonight is basically the night that we're gonna be waiting to see what that pre-order is gonna look like.
About an hour and a half.
Yeah. So we'll have a conversation through Messenger or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I guess I got a feeling like after it goes live and pre-orders, somebody's gonna have a live streaming. Like,
probably
as well.
So
I wanted to, but I ordered food, so I don't know.
Maybe we'll get here before.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes down, man. It'd be
We'll see.
interesting. Like if I'm up, I'll try to do one, but I'll let people know. If Will's up, we'll see. He'll probably won't because it's past his bedtime. But
probably.
All right, man. I'll talk to y'all later on, though, bro.
All right, man. Have fun.
All right, Leo.
Peace out.
But the last thing I want to talk about, guys, before we end things here is like he didn't necessarily rule out reissues. To me, he kind of said like, hey, maybe we'll make like a slightly different version.
He said if they can make a better version than
right.
what they've
So
already done.
I don't like that was definitely an answer where it's like, you know, I think that's probably not going to please some people because some people were like, oh, Queen's going to be premium with no reissues. I think, you know, because Hot Toys kind of does remakes of figures a lot of times. I think Queen kind of left the door open there that they could do that if they wanted to.
The impression I gathered from his answer was if they can improve on it and make it different. So I feel like it would be a 2.0, but it would probably be years down the road.
But that's kind of what Hot Toys does for the most part.
Also, you also have to consider technology changes over time as well. So you're going to have more premium materials where they could probably do something even more, you know,
kind of like Endgame Loki versus the original Avengers Loki. Like it's a very different figure, even though it's, you know, the same in a sense. But yeah, so that's interesting to see. But guys, thanks so much for joining, everybody, for watching. It was a fun stream. I know we got through a lot of questions. So yeah, man. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we close things out?
Good times, man.
Go for it, Mario. Let me think on it for a sec.
Just did, bro.
What'd you say?
You only got about 5 seconds to think about it.
No, man. Just excited to see what's going to happen next, dude. So
me too, man.
Let's go.
Oh.
Anything?
Me too. No, I don't know. I just really, it's just so damn early that we don't know yet. You know, he kind of already answered what I've suspected. You know, the fact that they've been working on this for a couple years before they're going public with it.
Yeah.
And they do have a plan. I'm sure they already have at least a dozen figures lined up because I sure as hell know we do. So, you know what I mean? They already have a bunch planned. So I suspect the first 12 months, the 12 months timeline's already written out. They're just not going to tell us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. And then we'll see as time improves. And that was the same thing I thought too. Like I mentioned that last night, you know, on my stream with you. And I was like, they're a new company. They got to prove themselves. If they keep popping out this quality, Marvel and stuff, they're going to notice. And then they'll be like, okay, yeah, we'll hook you up. It's inevitable. As long as they keep that consistency, we're going to get it. We're going to hit those Star Wars. We'll get the Marvel. It's just not going to be right now. You know, 2 years from now, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. He also said too, as they grow in scale, these companies usually go to them as well. So.
Oh yeah.
So maybe I'm sure that's something that'll happen down the line. So just give it time, and I'm sure we're gonna get all the lines that we're all gonna want to see, like what we're asking for tonight.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much to everybody for joining. Thanks so much to this amazing panel, as always, for being awesome. And we'll be back next Sunday for Collectors Mingle, another typical episode at 8 p.m. Eastern, back to our normal time, 8 p.m. So thanks so much again to everybody for joining, and hopefully you learned something productive and helpful tonight. And Joker pre-order in about an hour and a half. Good luck with that. You got 3 days to pre-order. Should be good. Peace out, everybody.